Good morning, everybody. You know, have you had one of those days where what could go wrong? Well, I've had my stuff. And sitting in front of me are four people who are in a play that starts at Newstage tonight. And they have come on. Oh, you got to turn the volume up on the box there so you can hear it. They're doing this play called What Could Go Wrong, right? So we're having our own little version of the play right here this morning. I just want to thank you all for doing this. You got opening night tonight. Are you nervous or anything like that, or anticipating, or get your lines done, or do you need to do a run through, or what?
Honestly, I think we're so ready to get this in front of an audience finally. We've been doing this just for ourselves, and it's funny just to us, but I've been actually getting reactions from the audience and laughter from the audience. It's going to give us new life in this play that we're so ready for.
Yeah, really. I have to introduce all four of you. First of all, let's go. We have Donovan Lockett, Lauren Parkinson, that was you who just spoke, John Howell, who's from here, lives here and all that, don't you, John?
Right.
And then Michael Kinslow, who is, well, you're from here originally, too. I guess the only person who, well, and so, Lauren, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Brandon, Mississippi.
Oh, okay. And so Donovan is from New Orleans.
I'm from New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. Well, welcome to all of you. The play is called What Could Go Wrong, right? And there was the funniest story about this. Now, it was right here on my page. Of course, you know, you leave it on your computer and it goes away. So I'll see if I can find it because it's very funny. Have any of you all done comedy before?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think probably all of us, right?
Is this the funny? Oh, here it says it's opening night of the Conley Drama Society's newest murder mystery called The Murder at Havisham Manor, and disaster awaits in the wings. The set is falling apart. And does it? I mean, it really...
We don't want to give anything away, but things do happen.
You'll have to come in and find out.
The props are missing, which we already had this morning. Somebody's borrowed headset, and we don't have headsets for everybody. And let's see. The actors can't seem to remember their lines. Oh, imagine that. Or stay on their feet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, somebody falls.
No spoilers.
Just one
As
person.
the cast fights to keep the show on track, the evening unravels into a perfectly choreographed comedy of errors. Part Agatha Christie, part Monty Python. Yay! The play that goes wrong is a wildly funny backstage romp that proves that the show must go on no matter what. So how is that to learn stuff that's not right? You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of tricky because it has to go wrong the right way, and it took a lot of practice to get that right. So yeah, we have to figure out, you know, what is it that the actors were intending to do, what did they want to do for it to go right, and then how does it go wrong, and how do you make that look right?
Well, that sounds like a pretty good challenge, I guess.
You almost have to reverse engineer it. So many times you always have to. We would have to look at, okay, if everything went right, what would this look like? And then from there, then you layer in, okay, this is what's supposed to happen, but what is my direction prior to that? What is my character's direction prior to that? And figuring out kind of what was supposed to go right so that you can choreograph what goes wrong.
Living backwards or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really is like living backwards. Have any of you done anything that's remotely like this?
Well, Drew Stark and I, who are in the show, were in Noises Off last year, and that's a similar sort of farce at New Stage, where the actors increasingly make more and more mistakes. They do the same play 3 times, and you watch. In each iteration, they get more and more careless about what they're doing because they become more consumed with other objectives. You know, they get angry at each other and so on. So that's a similar sort of play, but still different than this.
Yeah.
If I were to just drink this water, that'd be no big deal. But if I were to go, oops, I spilled my water. What are we going to do now? That's how you do it, right?
Kind of. And I've done the show before. I've done the play that goes wrong before, and we have another actor who this is, I think, his 4th time doing it. Yeah. It's what's really cool is right now there's so many regional theaters. The show is really hot because it's hilarious. So there's so many theaters around the country that are doing it right now.
Well, that's good. And you start tonight is the 9th, and you're going through the 21st. Mm-hmm. So you'll have plenty of time to knock yourselves out doing this stuff.
Literally.
The relevance of it all, too, for us, is that we've all been in other shows where things have gone wrong that weren't supposed to go wrong. So we can relate to everything that we're doing in this show. We've experienced some form of this.
Yeah.
If you do theater long enough, you will experience all this stuff. You'll have people fall. You'll forget their lines, drop things. Like it's real.
Hey, I was walking down the hall earlier this morning and tripped and fell and rolled over 3 times.
You did?
Yeah, and I was like, what in the world just happened? So, yeah, I know how you feel.
Every day for us.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
And I forgot my headset. My little things that I look like I'm picking out my ears. I forgot those. And by the way, the traffic over this morning was. I mean, something went wrong there. Here's the thing: people don't start up like when you're the first person in the line. You should get going. Get up to speed, get going. But here's like, well, I guess I'll go up to 15 miles an hour. Something like this, And so it took a 20-minute drive took 50 minutes this morning. That was so. Lance, you really did fall? I mean,
oh yes, I was just running back from the little courtyard, and a sniper got me. And I rolled 3 times and about hit the glass door.
Whoops.
I was like, it's kind of like a dog when they run and slip and they look around to see if anybody saw.
That's what my mother would watch. She liked to see people. No, she was not a sadist or anything, but she thought it was so funny living up north. People fall on the ice. First thing they do is look around and see if anybody's on. I fell in the parking lot a few weeks ago. I was just walking along just as nice as could be, and then boom, I was down on my knees because there's cracks in the. I wasn't looking down. I was just looking up and thinking, and it happens. But did not happen this morning. Just this morning. So, do you all feel like in real life that? It's okay. And if things go wrong, or do you say you're looking for things to go wrong, something like that, to relate to this play at all?
I mean, I also teach theater, and I always tell my students when they're preparing for a performance, things will go wrong, right? And it's a little bit delusional to pretend like they will not, but that's one of the beauties of live theater is being able to have the skills to deal with what happens when things go wrong.
If somebody really does forget their lines, in a normal production, then somebody jumps in, I guess.
How much ad-libbing goes on during this type of program? Or is it all absolutely scripted, or is there some organic ad-libbing to it?
Great question. There are some moments written in the script that requires ad-lib, or what they call vamping, where we, let me choose my words.
You can say without telling the
They
whole
don't want us to reveal too much. But, the audience is also a part of this show, so their reaction we can react to, because when things go wrong and the audience reacts, we, the actors that we're playing on this stage, don't want this show to go wrong, so when things go wrong, we panic. And that also brought up the good point of when these I forgot what I was going to say.
Your brain went wrong.
We always, so one thing, and we've all heard this before, in other shows, audience members are always, are amazed at what we do. They're like, oh, how did y'all do that there's always things that go wrong in every show that you do that the audience never realizes. Yeah. Like they don't realize that John was supposed to go this way and I went this way, but we made it work and it did this this. This is like kind of pulling the curtain back and letting the audience actually see the things that do go wrong.
It's obvious what has gone wrong. We show you what has gone wrong.
Right.
And it's hysterical.
Yeah.
The rule in theater, though, is if something goes wrong, you just keep going.
Exactly.
You fix it and you do the best you can to fix it and work around it and keep the show going. Never let the show stop. And that's what these actors do, even long after they should have stopped.
Right. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's the play that goes wrong, but it's also the play where the actors make bad decisions to try to get it back on track.
If somebody in the audience doesn't get it, are they likely to say, "Hey, you need to go over here," or "Hey, you need to say this"? Do they ever get so involved in it that they don't realize that it's a farce?
There are moments when the show requires audience participation.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Can you give an example? I won't give away the show.
You should come early. You should come early because before the show starts, you may find yourself having some interactive fun.
Right. Okay.
Before the show even
A little Monty
starts.
Python action.
Yeah, there's the Monty Python.
There's no watermelons and hammers, though, right?
and sometimes the audience does know. The first show I ever did at New Stage is Beth Henley's Crimes of the Heart in 2015.
Oh, wow.
And there was the opening scene where I'm bringing a bag of pecans to my neighbor, right? And they had an actual bag filled with pecans, right? And we'd been practicing, rehearsing. And so about the third show, I walk in and I set that bag of pecans on the table and we start the scene. And while we're talking, you see that bag of pecans start doing like this, and it just fell over, and pecans went all over the stage.
Oh, beautiful.
And so you could hear the audience members go, like, some of them are like, that's not supposed to happen. And so we just. And again, this is you're working with professional people and they know their lines and they know what's the story that we're telling. So what would you do in your kitchen if your neighbor's bag of pecans? We just started picking up pecans while we did the scene.
Absolutely.
So all blocking's out the window. We just start picking up pecans. Yeah. And later, at the end of the night, they were like, that was such a cool trick how y'all did the pecans. I was like, man.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. It was just, it was horrifying for us, but we keep going,
Well, does this play open up on a regular note, like something's going to happen? Well, the murder, I guess, where it starts off straight, a straight storyline, and then poof, then things start to. How does it?
Yes
More
and no.
or less. Yeah. So there, as you mentioned, there's a play within a play aspect of it. So for the most part, besides the top of the show Lauren was referring to, where we might use you, we'll see. The show starts with the murder at Haversham Manor, right? Which is the Agatha Christie type play. And then you see that start to peel away as actors make bad decisions and things start going wrong.
Yeah.
And so the entire show, it's going back and forth between what would be the play within a play versus what's actually happening on stage, everything going wrong.
Does the murder get solved? Now maybe we can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Maybe yes.
Have to
maybe
come
no.
see.
Against all odds, perhaps.
And you all start when you're when the shtick is happening, these things are happening. Are you the characters or are you the actors?
Good question. We're both. Yes. You go back and forth because you're trying to be the character, but when something goes wrong, suddenly the actor behind the character comes out.
Because technically we are playing actors who are playing characters.
Right.
So John is playing an actor named Dennis who's playing
Named Perkins.
named Perkins. Exactly.
Yes.
And you might step back and say, "Now, folks, my name is John, and that character that's a character. That might happen, stuff like that."
Yes, you see glimpses of the actor behind the character.
Right. You'll see glimpses of Dennis trying to get things wrong. But if we do our job, you won't see John.
Yeah,
Probably.
exactly.
Who wrote this play? And what's the matter with that person's brain?
It's three people, and I cannot remember their names.
So it's I believe they're British actor writers who were the
sounds so
right, but they were the actors who were originally in it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which
so
is incredible. And
somebody
so
had
what I love is I'm forgetting their names are just terrible. It's like 3 different people. They've all played like all the different guy characters.
Oh, here
in
they are.
it.
Okay.
I found them. Henry Lewis, Jonathan Sayer, and Henry Shields.
Yes.
So those guys are the ones who wrote this. So I wonder if they wrote it based on something that they were trying to work on and things really did go wrong, or if they just decided, there's got to be a play about stuff that happens and we'll make a play strictly about stuff that happens.
Well,
Don't know.
there are similar ones like Noises Off that are a classic farce that's a play within a play that is going wrong. I think this one is different for a lot of reasons. It's a little more modern. It's a lot of slapstick humor, just the most ambitious stunts you probably have ever seen at New Stage Theater.
Stunts.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about the set yet.
Yeah.
No,
The set's amazing.
The set gets kind of demolished, apparently, sort of.
Maybe again, we can't say
No, you
too
can't say a
much.
lot, but-
Just know that the set is a character in
It
the
is.
show.
The set is 100% a character, yes.
And you got great sets at New Stage, by the way.
yes.
I mean,
Our technical director is Richard Lawrence, and he designs and builds the most beautiful and fabulous sets.
Well, the thing that stands out in my mind, I've brought this up before, is Sound of Music, and the big the palace. Okay, so I saw it on Friday night, and then that Sunday night I was scrolling through TV, and I came in on The Sound of Music, the film. Wow, it looked exactly the same. And it's like, oh my God, they duplicated it. It was really well done. Very, very well done.
A beautiful set.
Yes, a beautiful set.
Yeah, and that set moved too.
It
did.
It did, yeah. This one is beautiful when you walk in right out of the gate. It's a lovely set. Your classic
Haversham Manor, is it?
Haversham Manor, exactly. You have no idea the secrets
I
that
got
this
him to
set is
reveal
hiding.
something.
Though.
Yes. I think it would be encouraging for people to see the show multiple times.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you come back the second time after you've seen it the first, and now you can start looking for stuff
Yeah,
and
for some of
anticipating
our
things.
magic tricks.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
that would. I mean, really and truly, I've talked to a few friends, and I was like, you really should see it at least twice.
Well, that's a good sell.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is an excellent sell. Well, the New Stage got such wonderful praise. A few months ago, somebody was here in one of the plays, and he was saying, I have to say that it's regionally, it's just the best, and it's most professional and all that, and that's really nice. We do have a lot of theaters around, but the ones that are really professional, and, you being from New Orleans, I'm sure, can appreciate all that, right?
Absolutely.
Have you been to New Stage before?
No, so this is my first time ever working here. Yeah, first time in Central Mississippi region. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a wonderful, it's the real thing, isn't it? Wouldn't you say?
It's a lovely theater community.
Actors
for
Equity
sure.
Theater. I think somebody said, it's Actors Equity, which means that's upper level. And that's really very good. Absolutely. So how long is the story? How long does the play last?
It's a tight 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
In and out
Two
in 90
acts.
minutes.
There's an intermission. So,
Yeah. How long is the intermission? For 15 minutes, something like
15.
that.
Yeah, 10,
Usually.
15, yeah.
So you can grab more junk to do.
Absolutely.
More stuff.
Get your glass of wine to make the
Oh.
second act a little more enjoyable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like an awful lot of fun, you all. And it starts tonight at what time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yep.
7 to 9. And then you have matinees and stuff. I don't expect you to know all that stuff. but-
Sundays we have matinees at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
And
Okay.
next week there will be a 1 o'clock Wednesday matinee.
I wonder what that is all about. Who knows?
I think that
Just
there
Wednesdays.
are some people who like to come in the afternoon, and they've discovered that there's a group that enjoys coming at that time.
Yeah. So is everybody ready for tonight? Or do you have to? Well,
I think we've
shall we
been.
say?
I think we've been ready, and we finally had an audience, a small audience of 10 to 15 of people's loved ones the other day, and just having a tiny amount of people in the room made such a difference. So I truly can't imagine, but also I'm so ready for there to be a full house
Yes.
that
Oh, yeah.
you're feeding off the energy of.
And it will be tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you all get a nap or anything today? Or
there'll be a
another
nap.
rehearsal or
A nap
something
will
like
be
that?
had. A nap will be had at some point.
I got to
always
do
had
some
one.
yoga personally
Right.
before,
Really?
before
Well,
we
I
go
about had
through
a
it.
nap on coming over to work this morning. Well, I'll just take a nap. The traffic goes so slow around here. Traffic can be weird. Well, listen, thank you all very, very much. It's Lauren Parkinson, John Howell, Donovan Lockett, and Michael Kinslow, some of the stars of the very dysfunctional The Play That Goes Wrong. It'll be lots of fun, everybody. I think we all need to go see it. Thanks a lot for
you.
coming.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
All right, we'll be back in a few minutes. Oh, that was fun.
Oh, they were great, weren't
fun.
they?
Yes, and I
Fun
appreciate
bunch.
them, like I said, getting up so early and doing this, but that's what they do. Their PR person, Joey Nelms, left some push cards, and it says more than we knew about. It's a smash hit farce. Okay, welcome to opening night of the Cornell University Drama Society. We heard that. Drama Society's newest production, Murder at a Havisham Manor, where things are quickly going from bad to utterly disastrous. This 1920s whodunit has everything you wanted in a show. An unconscious leading lady, see, we didn't know this, a corpse that cannot play dead, and actors who trip over everything, including their lines. Nevertheless, the accident-prone thespians battle against all odds to make it through their final curtain call with hilarious consequences. And then we knew this part Monty Python, then part Sherlock Holmes. It's an Olivier Award-winning comedy, a global phenomenon that's guaranteed to leave you aching with laughter. Recommended for somebody 8 years and older.
Nice.
8 years, only have to be 8 years old to go. I think that's really
So
wonderful.
family friendly.
Oh yeah, all
8
that
years.
family-friendly hysterical stuff. That's really cute, and yeah, that's really very cute. I was just reading something. What was I
We're
reading?
very fortunate, Mary, to have New Stage and all of the different outfits around that put on such great work. And
Absolutely.
then the two museums are phenomenal. I
Yep.
was down there. It's been late last week, Friday, I think I ran down, and went through the Natural History Museum, Civil Rights, and then the Katrina exhibit from Melody
was that?
Golding. Oh, it's
Really good.
phenomenal, man! I had to teared up a few times in that. So there's so much. So much emotion pent up
Yes.
still 20-something years later.
25.
Yep. So it's worth going to see, especially if you had if you just want to jog your memory or see what so many Mississippians pitched into
Yes.
in such a devastating and disastrous time for so many. But I thought the History Museum so well done. some great pieces in there with the Native American culture and the different entities that flew flags over Mississippi, and the French and the Spanish and the English, and so I thought it was very well done. And I'd been in the Civil Rights Museum a couple times, but we're just very fortunate that we've seen that investment into the arts and the humanities, which I'm a big fan of.
Arts and humanities. Or your arts, that's your thing?
Arts, well, I mean, I love performance, love fine art.
And your family was an artist?
My grandmother was a fine artist.
What did she do? What was her medium?
Impressionist was her in paint, but she loved
oil?
Oil. She would work with watercolor too, some, but mostly oil on canvas and flowers and landscapes and things of that nature, and roosters. And back in that time, there's a lot of browns and oranges and, the earth tones, which I grew up with and grew up finger painting, and she was amazing. But it really opened my eyes and heart to the creative element in life, and always appreciate that.
By the way, Pacesetter Gallery does this thing. I would like to do that. It's sip and paint or something like that. I would like to do that.
I've heard nothing but phenomenal stuff from the folks
what
that go.
happens is you don't have to be an artist. It's, if you want to be or whatever, think you are, whatever, it doesn't matter. But as I gather, there's a painting that's on display, and then you all have your wine and your paints. And is it watercolor? Or is it
not quite sure.
Acrylics, or I'm not sure what it is, or maybe it's both. Anyway, you get to duplicate that with your ability to interpret what that is. Whatever, it's a landscape. I think the last one was a landscape. I seem to remember a sky and then the ocean or a water body of some sort. But anyway, I think that would be a really neat thing to do. Like, could you do it as well as the artist did it? And the artist would probably be Carrie Davis, I'll bet you.
Well, and can you add your fingerprint to it instead of trying to exactly replicate something, making it more yours? Much like, I guess that was kind of my question to our actors and actresses that were here, are, how much of it is your personality coming out versus a script? And I think that, to me, has always been something I've greatly appreciated in the fine art world, because, in stage, most of it is very rehearsed and tight, and they're professionals at keeping on script. In art, though, sometimes you get off script, and you see some of the greatest creations or things you didn't think you were going to. Well,
they have the freedom to do that,
right? Yeah.
Which is a really cool thing, and they have the freedom to jump out of the character and go, that's not really me. That's that character that's doing that or whatever. It must be a hoot to be in the audience.
I'm going to go to this one. I went to the mountaintop with the Martin Luther King kind of story before his night, before the assassination.
Yes.
The
woman he spoke with,
Oh, it was really, really cool, and it was an angel that had visited him, and it was all set in the room at the hotel, the Lorraine Motel. So it was one set, but it was really well done. And again, I'm always so impressed with New Stage that you really get a chance to kind of feel that you're there. I think they do such a great job with their set design, and as well the costuming.
They do. They have it all. They really do. They're whoever that. Remember who that was here we had in the studio, who was so full of praise for New Stage. It's a regional great stage, great theater.
Again, I think we're very. I hope people go and see this one. It's
this will be too
really
funny.
Very, very comfortable surroundings, easy parking, and
called The Play That Goes Wrong. And the G in the word wrong, is
upside down.
You have it, upside down, backwards. Yes,
it looks like a Russian G or something.
That'll give you a clue right there. No, I have to reflect on something very sobering a bit today, because there was a connection there. There's a story out that the witness and friend of a guy named Michael Brown. Remember who Michael Brown was? Michael Brown was the man in Ferguson, Missouri. Yes. And so the story goes, whoever wrote the story writes, a witness and friend of Michael Brown, who was shot and killed by police in 2014, has died. The guy who died, the witness, is Dorian Johnson, shot and killed Sunday in Ferguson, according to police, Ferguson, Missouri. He was known to be with Brown when he was shot and killed by police, I have to say, in August of 2014. Johnson was shot around 8:30 in the morning, taken to the hospital where he died. Well, first of all, it wasn't like some cop going around killing Michael Brown. This just kills me. The narrative is not true. What happened was, Michael Brown had gotten up in the morning and smoked some drugs, then went to a store and was stealing some food and snacks and stuff like this. He got pretty loaded up, and then he went outside and he tried to to take a gun or the car from a cop. Remember that? Yeah, he tried to go, and the cop got his way. Anyway, Michael Brown went down the street. Then he came back down the street. He did not go like this. He was not walking down the street with his hands up. He was coming down the street with his hands like this out in front of him, like charging. That's how he got a bullet in the top of his head. If he were walking like this and the police shot him, he would have gotten shot here. But that wasn't it. He was shot this way. Well, so that happened. Well, a couple weeks before that happened, I used to drive Mercedes Benzes, and I would go and sit in the weight room forever and ever because you always have to have work done on your car about every 5 minutes. And so one time I was in there and got to talking with this man who he was from here, and he had just retired from the Ferguson, Missouri Police Department. Well, at the time, I'm like, where's Ferguson, Missouri? What is there? And what's there? Well, it's a small town, et cetera. And so then he told a story about how he had gone to Jackson State University, and the night of listen to this though, the night of the shooting at Jackson State, he and a friend were in a convenience store a couple blocks away, and this young kid came in, about 18 years old, and he was buying something, and he said, gee, what's going on over there? And they didn't really know because there was a demonstration of some sort. And so the kid goes, well, I guess I'll go down the street here and see if I can see what's going on. Well, that kid was the one who was killed. Do you know that? Killed by police. Look up the Jackson State shooting of 1971, maybe? I think it might have been. Anyway, that was the kid. So when this happened with Ferguson, I thought, oh, if I only had that guy's name that I spoke with at the dealership, he would be a wealth of information about the whole thing about Ferguson and the whole thing about Jackson State. I mean, he was sitting right next to me, but I never, at the time, I didn't know anything about Ferguson, Missouri, because none of that had happened. And I just kind of failed to register about having he met the kid who eventually lost his life that night. So I wonder if that man is still around listening. If you are, give us a holler. I'd love to hear from you. Well, that's living history. So anyway, I have a little update about the reservoir for you. I went Sunday afternoon, kind of late. Well, I was going to get there about 3:30 to take my dog to go to the dog park, and she's been going there. We've been going there, and she's been having a big time. I haven't even told the audience about this. I have a grief therapy dog. It's been 2 months now since I lost my Heidi. And a few days later, I got a dog from one of the rescues. And she's a little brown dog of who knows what. She's got a terrier mix, and she's got other stuff in her, but she's a good dog.
Seems like you have some Rhodesian Ridgeback in her, too, with that beautiful color.
Yeah, she's the color of wood floors. The thing of it is, that's why I guess I did tell about this last week. I got to get one of those collars that, has reflective lights in it.
I'm telling you, Orvis has the best one. You just go over and buy it.
Is it any different?
It's just a little round tube.
Yeah, that's what they are at PetSmart, too.
You just cut it and stick it in there. And
is Orvis at Renaissance?
Yeah, it's just right over there at Renaissance on the Kate side of Renaissance, so right close to the frontage road.
Yeah,
on that side. It's easy in and out.
Well, is it like $6-7, right? That's
it's a few bucks more than that, but I mean, it's definitely worth it. It's the best one I've found because it's like a solid tube,
right?
And then you just clip it to fit the dog's thing, and then you stick it straight into the little other tube. It recharges, and it goes through a range of colors. And it works great. I've got a couple of them, but this one's the one I really like the best.
Well, the one I saw at PetSmart, they didn't say inches, but they said like small, medium, and large. So I measured her neck, and it's like 13 inches.
It's just one size, and you clip it. It's just a just a tube. The light shoots through the tube. Think of a rope, but just made out of clear rubber.
But you hook,
Yeah, and you unplug one side of it, which it's just there's no wiring in it. The light is in the little connector, and it shoots it through that clear rubber tube.
Yes.
And it's hard. It's not like there's anything in it. So to make it fit your dog, you just take your scissors and clip as much off as you want, and then stick it back in, and there's no moving parts. There's no wiring.
But there's the place where where you plug it in to recharge it. It's got a little
rubber piece you open and stick it in there. Yeah, it's nothing to it. But it works great. And I've had quite a few of them over the years. This one's made for if the dog's going to be out in the rain or something like that, and it's just easy slip on, slip off.
Yeah.
And it recharges. It lasts for a pretty good while.
Well, so we went over there, and there was traffic. There was traffic going into where okay, if you haven't been to the reservoir in a while, they've just started this thing within, I don't know how long it is, where you have to pay to get in. It's $5 a car for whatever. If you walk, you don't have to pay, but obviously if you drive your car, and you have to pay $5. Or if you're like me, I have a reservoir tag, and every time I go, got a reservoir tag. Oh, go ahead. And they act like you're royalty or something because you got a reservoir tag. So anyway, I'm waiting behind all these. There are only about 3 or 4 cars ahead of me, but they were backed all the way up to the road going into the whatever the name of that road is. I should know. Lakeshore Drive, I guess it is. Anyway, they were backed up. And what in the world's going on? And so I got up there and I said, well, you won't have to bother with me anything because I got a reservoir tag. Okay, what's your pass? I said, my pass? You talking about password? Yeah, what's your pass? Well, I have no idea. They said, well, you should have gotten something in the mail or something in email about telling what you have to do. What? So they go
in the mail.
Well, email.
Okay,
I guess email.
Man,
it could have been snail mail, but maybe email. I didn't get anything like that, and it was like, well, you have to get that. You just have to leave. Well, okay. So, but you have to go into the website. Oh, okay, good. I can do that right here. And they go, no, there's nobody until Monday. Okay. So Monday morning, first thing, I went online and to the reservoir website, and there is a place you go. And what you have to do is you just register yourself, and your phone number is your password. It's password, not like your boarding pass. So I'm all signed up for that. I mean, geez, so people, if you didn't know about that, then you wouldn't know. And I didn't have any money. If I could have paid $5, but I didn't have any money with me. I mean, I'm just there for my. Anyway, that's the thing, though, folks. If you've got a reservoir tag and you want to go in, you're going to have you just go to the website and look up this pass business, and you should find out. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. It's Mary Wieden and You. But anyway, I was looking to see if there's anything else going on in the world here that we needed to know about. This whole North Carolina stabbing about that young woman. Oh, by the way, speaking of somebody from Ukraine, of this the Ukrainian woman who was stabbed to death, and we've all probably seen the video, stabbed to death on a train.
3 bystanders sitting around her, and nobody did anything.
Nobody did a thing.
They're all on their phone.
Well, the thing of it is, we have a very famous person from Ukraine in Mississippi, and she's an amazing person, Analia Jolly, who was Miss Mississippi, and she was I thought she was going to win Miss America. I mean, the girl is everything. She was 12 years old, and when she was adopted from a Ukrainian orphanage, 12 years old, she came to this country. She speaks flawless English. Have you ever met her or seen her? There's nothing to detect because it's perfect, and she's been gone to college. She has her own business. She has a dancing studio, and I don't know what else. She's written a couple books. I think helping children who've been in orphanages is one of her things that she does. I mean, she's a pretty girl. Just everything about her is perfect. She came in number 11 in Miss America, which I forgot to watch on Sunday, but I saw the stuff yesterday. I would have been heartsick if I'd watched it, but she is really somebody to admire. I mean, she's 23, maybe 22, 23 years old, and she's done a lifetime worth of stuff. But imagine your first 12 years, and I don't think she talks about it either, because there's no reason for her to want to take herself back, but yet to be able to help children who've been in orphanages, she would to an extent. But, I mean, you would never say, what was it like? You would never ask her because it was unpleasant. I think that might be one of the words she's used, unpleasant experience growing up in an orphanage in Ukraine. But she did do that, and she was adopted by these wonderful people in Mississippi, and I think the adoption was sort of a fluke in that they were looking at another girl, somebody else, and something happened with that other girl. She got adopted out or something like that. And then Analia came along, and they said, yes, we'd love to have you be our daughter, or words to that effect, But can you imagine? She didn't speak a word of English. She lived in Ukraine, and she did all these things in a matter of like 10 years, really less. She was 12. Can you conceive of that?
It's hard for me to believe that if you spend this amount of time in a country that you don't in some way want to learn the language and learn some of the customs and things, and you must really admire her.
Oh, I do.
For just
everything.
People in general admire for all of the learning.
She's entrepreneurial,
an entrepreneur,
and all this kind of stuff. She's living the American dream, and I don't know. She hasn't been on any of our shows, I don't guess. I'll have to see if we can get her on this show. I was at a luncheon a few months ago, and I remember that there was this young girl who had this dance studio and so on, but I didn't realize that that's who she was until afterward, that she was in the Miss Mississippi pageant circle, that she was going to compete for Miss Mississippi. I didn't understand that till later on, but I mean, that's amazing. Yeah, think of yourself, the first 12 years of your life are, you don't want them. They're closed off, and you progress into something that you knew nothing about. Literally, I don't think she knew much about this country, except just maybe generally. But to actually come here and learn everything that she's learned and do everything that she's done, and only 23 years old is to be so admired. I mean, not very many people can claim that. Not many people who live here can claim those sorts of accomplishments, especially at such a young age. But anyway, she did well. She came in number 11. Great. You should have taken away one of those ones and made her number 1, but that's okay. We will live with that, right? So listen, coming up on the show, there's a thing going on in downtown Jackson to raise money to continue doing some free concerts. I remember last year we talked about those concerts downtown for a certain period of time, and so now there's an effort to go on to raise money to fund some equipment things that they can use. And so we're going to talk about that with Liz Brister on Friday. Liz Brister happens to be the head of the Downtown Jackson Partners organization. And I'm looking forward to talking with her about that as well. So both of those things, that'll be pretty good, don't you think? And then coming up in another week or two after that will be our friend Glenn Antizzo. He's having a busy time getting into school, he's into school this year and getting time and all that kind of stuff. He's back teaching, of course, at MC. But, we have to keep up with that. We don't keep up very much with the Ukraine-Russia thing because we're tired. We're weary of it.
I read it every day.
Well, I'm getting I've long since, Putin, if you want to talk peace, well, then quit bombing the hell out of Ukraine.
No, he doesn't want peace. He wants the four oblasts, as has been stated for years, the 3 or the 4 on the eastern side, and it comes around to Crimea. I don't believe that he has any intent in any ceasefire until he's able to get what he wants.
He wants it. Yeah, he wants the USSR is what he wants.
And then the history of the place in that part of the world is very complex.
Yes, it is. And Glenn Antizzo did his PhD work on that. By the way, that area of the country. Did you know that?
I didn't know that he had done it specifically there, but I know a good bit about that area, and it's one of those places in Europe that has had extreme dissatisfaction with each other for a long, long time, going back to even before the Romanov dynasty was the powerful player. So it's a long-standing issue, and
hundreds of years.
The western portion of Ukraine is much more what you would call right. Or more democracy-based.
Democratic.
I don't know if they're democratic, but they are more of a democracy style.
Yeah.
The eastern side was much more controlled through the communists for a long time.
Yes, and
there's a lot
already.
And they're much more aligned with Russia. Many more speak Russian there, and in Donbass and Zaporozhye and those other areas, Kharkiv. But again, the stories come on both sides.
Yeah,
and it's hard to
it's hard to unscramble it, isn't it? It's very hard to unscramble because it's back and forth,
and there's just such a long-standing hatred of each other, and I don't see how you solve this because the whole western side of the country literally hates almost the eastern portion, and it goes both ways. So I don't see how a ceasefire, maybe it prolongs something, but I do believe if you have a ceasefire without true international solutions with Russia on the same side and agreements, you're going to see this happen again in a few years.
Oh, sure.
And it may be even worse the next time.
Well, and then we haven't heard much about, a little bits and pieces here and there about Hamas and Hamas and the Israelis, and they're at it again.
They're starting up. Israel's starting up their, the evacuation of the entire Gaza Strip.
Well, for people who and the Hamas, they play, the Muslims play the media so well, and they put children in front of their targets and all this kind of stuff like that. And they make it out like they're the aggrieved. The Hamas is the aggrieved ones. Well, they didn't do anything. I remember the day that happened, and I remember Benjamin Netanyahu, as they say over there. They say it, to say it in Israeli, they say Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu. That's how they say it. Anyway, Benjamin Netanyahu vowed he was going to crush Hamas. I mean, his country was victimized. His people were slaughtered. Well, and then they blame it on the Israelis. And and he's just doing what he said he was going to do.
Go back to the 6-Day War and the declaration even before that of Israel as a nation, and every state around them attacked them. And this is something again that's gone on for decades.
Oh, centuries, really.
The current problem, right? It's been going on since the inception and conception of Israel as a state.
And part of it was, I think, really the real, the real heart of it is Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the heart of the whole thing. The Jews want Jerusalem. The Muslims want Jerusalem, Palestinians or whatever. And there is no Palestinian state, by the way. There is a Palestinian territory, but there's no Palestinian state.
The Muslim side of that delegation multiple times rejected any type of proposal that the UN and others had put together that were very feasible.
Regarding Jerusalem?
Regarding the whole area.
The whole thing,
There was 3 different times that they were given an opportunity at a homeland state and denied that they were not going to take it unless it was all of it. So again, I mean, it's a crazy situation in which
it's awful.
The what we call Palestinians are they want it all, and and the Israelis have a legal right to the country that they have and to protect it. So. Yes. Unless something changes there, Israel has the legal right to protect itself.
Yes, and I hate to see Israel constantly being beat up on. Why beat up on the victims of this stuff? And they don't see themselves, well, they know they're victims, but I mean, they don't go boo-hoo-hoo, they're hurting us and robbing us. No, the Israelis go, yeah, we're going to fight. They fight for their land.
That's
they
what they
fight
do,
for the land. Yes, they do.
And they have for thousands of years.
Yes, they have.
And whether you believe in Israel as a state or what, it really is irrelevant because they have a country and it is supported by the UN, and these are international boundaries and borders that they're there. They have to protect.
Don't forget, a gentleman by the name of God gave them their promised land a long time ago.
They did.
But it just constantly, this constant pick. It just drives me insane. And these people who, they're so against Israel. Why? Israel is doing what they're supposed to do, protect themselves, and they have a right to do, and they do that. I think they're the most admirable people in the world. I don't know how they do it. Every day, imagine, Lance, every day, you live that you might get bombed at work or at home or whatever you might get, but you're ready to go. You're ready to fight for your country, and that's what they do. And that's all they're trying to do here is fight for their country and get rid of these people. And how can you deal with something that's not even a quote unquote government? Hamas, what is that? It's another.
Well, it's a terrorist organization.
It's a terrorist organization, exactly. How are you supposed to negotiate with people like that?
I'm not trying to be ugly, but that's what it is.
That's what they are. Yes. What is their government charter? Oh well, here we go. Forget all that stuff. Let's get to the music here. Okay. This is. Deceiver by Chris Lake. You can find it on, there's 2 Deceivers. There is a song about deceiving, but this is Deceiver by Chris Lake and Green Velvet, and it's great. What are you talking about? Don't you love that? Yeah, all right, have a good